Hi, I'm here with the 2017 NextGen Market Research Award winners. We have Lisa Cortade from Merck, David Lundahl from Insights Now, and Gregory Weston from Incognito Research. So why don't we start and go down the line and just tell us at a high level what you've been working on this year.
Absolutely. So my company is Incognito Research, and we conduct agile market research via rideshare. We dynamically train the rideshare driver to be at the wheel of the car and of the conversation to discover actionable insights. So we're just taking advantage of that natural back and forth, and just helping that out, giving that to market research companies. And we're really focusing on a global agenda of giving, local market research companies an international reach.
Great.
Yeah, Dave Lundahl, my company is Insights Now. We are a behavioral insights company, and we work in providing insights for faster, more informed decision making for brand managers, for product innovators, as well as marketers.
So my focus has remained, how do we bring insights forward and be a voice for patients in our organization? And increasingly, the challenge in that is, how do you do that better, faster, cheaper? But how do you provide real-time, deep insights into the challenges in the healthcare system so that we can make better decisions and get products, medicines, and vaccines to patients faster that deal with issues that are in the healthcare system?
Awesome. Lisa, let's start with you. I think one of the reasons you won the methodology award this year, first time we gave it to a client, is how you inspire, I think, a culture of risk-taking, trying new methodologies, and not just that, but making it part of your process. So, without getting too specific, just at a high level, what do you think? How do you do that so well?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Is it from how do I inspire the team, or how do we work with other people's money and persuade them to invest in insights?
Well, I guess both. I know one of the things that you've done really well is encourage your supplier partners to be more innovative, and I know you're passionate about that, and so love to hear your thoughts on that.
You had to ask a question ahead of time around what's your favorite method, and I really struggled with that because at one point in my career I would have said, oh, well, I was the quant person. If you have a question about any kind of choice-based trade-off, any kind of quantitative method, Lisa's the person you go to. And then I became known as the person who could set up online communities, and I think that there was a turning point, a real tipping point, when I became the person you went to when you had big challenges. Whether or not it was research, it was, how do I solve this new challenge that we haven't seen before? And I think that the most useful method isn't a method, it's an approach. And it's, I wouldn't call it crowdsourcing, but it's bringing together the minds and the capabilities and the skills of a diverse population, whether it's the folks on my team or external partners, to say, how do we work together and bring different approaches to solve new business challenges that we've never seen before in a very complex environment. So it's never a single method, but more a hybrid approach to creating a bionic team, if you will, with different skill sets and different experiences that arrive at dramatically different results.
Interesting, thank you. David Lundahl, just a little bit, one of the main reasons that you won was your work and passion around clean label. You've done some innovative research there, self-funded some of that, and been very outspoken advocate, and really shaken things up there in that industry vertical. Can you talk a little bit about that for those who aren't as familiar with that?
Well, sure, Tom. First of all, I want to say thank you so much. I'm honored for the recognition that comes with this award, being a change agent. And so being a change agent is actually what we founded Insights Now in 2003, was to be a change agent in the industry. And so, we won the Explorer Award in 2012, and we're on the Grit 50, most innovative companies. So this idea of being a change agent and being innovative, bringing forth behavioral sort of metrics and measures is what we've done to apply to a really difficult problem that the food industry is having, because innovation requires needs, and this is one of the bigger needs that we've seen for a long time. So in the food industry, this free from food movement, which is not just in the U.S., but it's global. It's one of the fastest growing sectors of the food industry in terms of change in consumer behavior that we've been looking at. So this all evolved out of about a year ago. I received a invitation to a conference that was food executives and in the food industry. So they were interested in coming in and talking about behavior, about this free from food movement, and how clean label, people are seeking products that are cleaner, more healthier, more natural, and that is really changing this whole food industry in a dramatic way. So we took this behavioral approaches, looking at being able to ask people questions instead of directly, implicitly. So implicit measures, implicit techniques through communities. And we discovered that there's a group of consumers, we call them clean label enthusiasts, that are distinctly different from other consumers. That is, not only behaviorally, but also this group of consumers, what we had to do is really understand the whys. Why are these people behaving differently in terms of seeking out products that are more natural, more organic, free from various different ingredients that one would say is, concerned about from a health perspective. So, anyways, it's been an exciting way in terms of going to the food industry and providing insights that are behavioral, that really get to the whys of why people are doing what they're doing.
Okay, great. And so, Gregory, to you, you're doing something very interesting. In fact, I shared a Lyft last night with the head of research at Lyft. That was an interesting experience. You're working with Uber and Lyft and rideshare drivers to train them to be moderators, videotaping their ride with passengers, and you're able to do local targeting in places as far away as China. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that works?
Yeah, so with the nurses at the hospital in Beijing, pretty much we know whenever the nurses get off shift. So it's typically like around 6 or like 8 o'clock in the morning. Pretty much we position our drivers around the hospital, and then that allows us to be matched with them. So by picking them up at the hospital and taking them home, we're able to capture their previous shift, and it's just that in the moment type of thing. It allows them to express their grief of working with coworkers or whatever, but it really helps capture that person's day.
It's very interesting that you can target like that. I know you've done work in Boston and various cities looking at tourists and what they're interested in. One question I had for you was, what do the companies think about this, Uber and Lyft and so forth?
So we've reached out to Uber and Lyft and other rideshare platforms. Can't really seem to get a response from them. But here's the thing: we don't necessarily need their permission to do our research. They're all their drivers are 1099 contractors, so that's why Uber can't say you can't drive for Lyft.
How are you training your?
So our training program has 3 main tiers. The first tier is our interpersonal tier. Second is our research tier, and the third is our operations tier. Which really, our training program is really at the core of our company. The interpersonal skills tier really refines and sharpens our driver's natural charisma into an actionable skill. The research tier is what gives them all the qualitative and quantitative research, the basics, moderating skills and interviewing skills. The third tier is the operations tier, where it covers everything from driver safety, how to handle difficult passengers, to our research strategies, placing yourself at the hospital at a certain time to find a certain respondent. And it really just combines all the tiers into one, just to create a just all-around perfect interviewer.
Great. In tomorrow's session, we'll be talking about various issues related to innovation in research. And coming back to you, David, just curious, in terms of Insights Now, every company has tried different new methodologies, it seems. Some have found some difficult to work with, some are the go-to, and some are the ones that you're curious about and want to learn more about. Where is Insights now on some of those areas in terms of research methodologies?
Well, being a change agent is we strive to be. It starts with understanding the needs in the industry. What are the types of insights that are needed to solve some of the big problems of this world, problems that companies are facing, and that decision makers really need to move quickly and effectively, in making informed decisions. So we focus on that in terms of first understanding what are the client needs and the industry needs in a broader picture.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've understood that, then the idea of being behavioral in research is, I think, another important thing. So being behavioral means not just understanding what people are doing, but is getting to the questions of why, so you know how to take actions, and get to the what and so what of insights. So that's what we seek to do. Our approach is behavioral. We have a framework that we use in trying to think through, how to solve and get to the why questions, go beyond the what. And so anyways, that's what we strive to do. And I think that approach is what is important for the marketing research industry as a whole to grasp in being, a change agent across the whole industry.
There's various barriers to innovation. Time is certainly one. Other risks, and sometimes, of course, budget is another one. One question I want to throw out to each of you, starting with Lisa. What would you do if the finance department told you you have $150,000 to spend, and it can't be a party or a bonus raise?
I started a practice years ago where I kept a wish list. So I'm very opportunistic because money does appear occasionally. And there's an opportunity. And my team has actually started doing this. So they'll probably come back from TMRE and send me a list of their wishes. And I ask them to frame up, what's the business situation? What are you going to deliver, and how much money do you need? And how much time are you going to need to do it? And often it's a gift like that that enables us to make an investment and demonstrate the value of a new technique, because it enables us to run a parallel study or do a pilot and look at what that business impact is from it. So I have several things on my wish list. So if you have an extra $150,000 you'd like to donate to work with me in that, I'd be happy to do that.
Good.
Over the last 20, 25 years I've been in this industry, what I've seen is the speed of business is increasing faster and faster.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So if you look at the decision-making process today versus 10 or 20 years ago, people need information quicker. Now, we're inundated with information. We've got data from all sorts of sources. So the question is, how do you coalesce that quickly into a way that can lead to insights for decisions? And so we have been looking for ways in which you can bring more data together. Communities is one of the areas we're finding where you can bring together more information and more quickly find answers. Like a question of the day, pose it and immediately get some sort of insights back. So there's quick insights that can be able to track people over time, so you start understanding people deeply, and what they're doing and why. So that sort of insights, I think, are the things that are changing this whole industry. And so if somebody had $150,000 to spend, I'd say, who are your most important consumers that you would like to target, or customers that you would like to target? And so how can we, so I would say spend $150,000. We'll set up a community for you, and so you can really have that quick, immediate insights for more informed decision making.
How would you spend it if you had the 150,000 for your company?
Yeah, I would look at ways in which we can more quickly develop technology from technology perspective. I would invest in technology so that we can more quickly gain faster insights and bring that together. So technology today is changing the world and how we can gain insights from people and to understand the what's and the whys.
And Gregory?
So I would split that up in about 30, 20, 50. 30% advertising, just to really help start sharing our company with the world and just help people figure out what we're all about. 20% is for the finishing our training program, just helping us just figure out the science and unlocking the science of the little enclosed interpersonal space of a rideshare ride. And then the 50% is developing our applications, our mobile recording app, all of our ethnographic and emotion science services and everything like that. So really just developing the platform as a whole, but sharing our vision with the world.
Thank you. A question for anyone here. Curious about your thoughts on innovation in our industry, or just how the industry is changing and how it's going to change and where we'll be in 2 to 5 years from now, how it'll be different. One of the things I've seen is that traditional research is actually has been declining, surveys and focus groups, and I think if people tracking the industry have started incorporating other things to boost those numbers a bit, things like social media monitoring, lots of other things to hide that fact. That's one of my recent observations, but curious to hear what you think about the trends.
What I'm seeing is if you look at our industry, it's a supply chain of information. So I look at our partners, like for the community that we did for Clean Label, being recruited by NetQuest, a good partner for us in how they're helping us recruit. We have other partners that do other types of recruitments, but it's not just recruiting, but it's also technology, like your company in Odin Text. It's a analytics. Text analytics is really important. Being able to take insights and quickly coalesce that into a new way to generate insights. So I see this supply chain of information. We're primary suppliers, so we're working directly with the clients to solve their business problems. But without the partnerships that we would have for recruiting, for analytics, and other sort of ways of qualitative moderators, we would not be able to be quickly. So I think the industry is changing in terms of how people partner together to generate insights and solve business problems, which is really exciting. I think that in the next 5 years or so, we'll see more of that, more of this alignment of this sort of network. It's not a direct, but it's different ways in which we will be working together to create more insights, to automate the processes together, and so on. So it's really exciting times.
I think it's really important for us to keep an open mind and be creative. On one hand, I hear, market research is dying. The world as we know it will be over, so change or die. I have a much more optimistic view than that. I think it's an incredibly exciting time, and the people who are most challenged by that are the ones who can't let go. They can't let go of an old model where they sold in a couple trackers and that produced 80% of their revenue, so they were good. And I saw it really up close a couple years ago talking to the head of a large international marketing research firm. And the gentleman was saying, well, none of our clients are doing any of that biometric stuff or that neuroscience thing and that social media listening. We're never going to do that because I don't see our clients doing that. And there was a pause as I thought about this, and I said, well, we are doing it. We're just not doing it with you. And the idea is we have to move faster. Business moves faster. And we need to be more open to different ways of getting that information and not afraid of embracing things like text analytics, using big data, using social media. I loved your examples of what you're doing with Lyft. What a great way to get people in the moment when they're having that emotion. Big fan of communities, but none of these are the one silver bullet. It's really a combination of those. And I think the currency of the future is being able to and willing to partner, being willing and able to change, and being willing and able to look at your challenges from a whole new different perspective and experiment to find what works.
That's great answer, Lisa. It's important to think about who your clients are and what other clients there are and suppliers and who you're really competing against. The industry is sometimes bigger than we think it is. Lisa, I know there's something really you're passionate about in terms of disruptive innovation. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think one of the, and you and I have talked about this, and this is a burning platform for me because I hear it a lot. Can you guys hear me? The issue is I hear people say, I can't innovate. I'm in a regulated industry, procurement won't let me, my brand teams won't do this, legal won't allow it. And they're all really good reasons, but they're also excuses. And the idea is we can do anything. We just have to do it right. Mm-hmm. And it really falls into two camps in my mind. One is manage the business risk. Manage the concerns of those commercial partners, the financial risk, and that's a partnership opportunity with agencies. Mm-hmm. It's the risk of getting the wrong answer. So how do you make sure that you have validated that crazy car idea that you might have? And how do you deliver that in a timely way and help them feel confident in those results? And then the other side of that I'll classify as regulatory risk. Privacy issues are real for everybody. Fair market value is real for everybody. Reporting, there are lots of other things that come into play in a regulated industry. Address those. Sit down with the lawyers, sit down with your procurement partners, and work with them to come up with what will work. Under what circumstances are we safe? Are our patients safe? Are our respondents safe? That we can have this conversation, that we can listen online, that we can have a community, that we can talk to people in their cars. What is the situation that we can do that under? And you will find that it is much easier to move forward, and everybody can do that.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I'd just like to say a word of thanks to the Next Generation Market Research and Tom. So thank you to you, Kristen Luck in Women in Research, and the other people that were on this awards committee. I just want to thank you for this award. It's very meaningful, and I think it helps to highlight what is really important about innovation. Whether it's startups or whether it's innovative techniques and methodologies or being change agents. I mean, I think it's important, and so thank you.
Thank you so much, David. Congratulations again to all of you, and look forward to seeing you guys next year.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.